Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. We got one more of those entry-level reels that we've been showing. We showed the Tsunami Bracer, which was a disappointment. We showed a Shakespeare Rainbow, which was nice. And the last one here is a South Bend. It's a South Bend Star Strike. It's 4.3 to 1 ratio. Its cute little gimmick is you can look through the case to see the gearing. And then we'll take it apart. We'll show you how it's made and how to service one of these entry-level reels. An issue with this one is it's a plastic casing, and even though it came on a combination, the foot's cracked on it. And I don't know if it was cracked by the owner or if it was cracked at the factory. I guess we'll never know. Now, South Bend is not related to Shakespeare. South Bend is an independent company. It started out as a lure manufacturer, and South Bend, Indiana. That's where it got the South Bend from. And today it's been owned by a conglomerate in Chicago. I think they only own the trade name. This one was made in China, and this one can't retail for very much, I'm sure, if it's even sold any longer. So let's get started with this. We have a basic plastic casing throughout. I'm going to take the spool off here just so we can see a little bit about what's going on. I'm also going to take the opportunity to thank our first responders and essential personnel, everybody in law enforcement, EMT, hospitals, medical, long-term care facilities, and everybody who's maintaining our supply lines and things as simple as food delivery services, mail. Everybody who's got a role to play in trying to keep us normal and keep us out of harm's way during this pandemic. Thank you for what it is that you do. Well, I'm going to intend to get this reel fishing again, give it to some deserving child. So we're going to clean this one up. I'm going to use a pen rod and reel cleaner to do that. Now, this looks like it's a plastic case, and plastic is notorious for suffering UV damage. So I don't know how much of the luster we can restore to something like this, but we'll do our best to clean it up. All right, there is no nut on this rotor, which means that there's a clip underneath that's going to be managing that. And from the looks of it, there's only a single take-apart screw. There you go. That's a single screw is kind of the jig master, right? I've been jig master and going back to Fluger Capital days and the like. Made for easy spool change. In this case, that's not what it is. It looks like there's only one. Let's see if we can get the case off. Oh, we can. And pretty straightforward design. Not terrible. Not terrible. I mentioned this with the Shakespeare that I did. It's held in by a pin. It's a little bit different configuration. It's got that, for lack of a better term, pot metal, but it's not a fancy marine, all waterproof kind of metal, but you know what, it's okay. And this pin comes out. I just took it out with that. I'm going to put that into a parts tray. You see a parts tray behind me. It's nothing more than the bottom of a milk jug, but it keeps order to all my pieces and parts. I'm going to remove the axle shaft by pulling up. That will free up this crosswind block so that we can clean that up. There's a lot of old grease and debris in that on there, so let's get that out of the way. The reel was turning okay. I do notice that there is an anti-reverse. You can see it clicking there. When I go to remove a main gear, I want to put that into an override so that if there is a spring or something in there that can become dislodged, we can do our best to keep it in that sequence, since I don't have a schematic or anything. So I'm going to leave this gear here right now, because in order to get that gear out, you need to remove the handle. The handle comes off in a clockwise direction. So let's go ahead and take that off. Now I can remove the rotor, and the rotor is going to have the this U-clip holding it in, and that U-clip that holds it in is going to be on the bottom of the rotor. So that pinion gear is kind of welded or molded to it. You'll see that right now as we take that off. So that's an old-time, old-school kind of an approach, but that's okay. The designs are enduring, and if they last, they mean that they've been working very well. I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up as well. I wanted to take the rotor off because this is the trip for the bail, and you want to make sure you get some oil onto that. Whether you're working on a $100 reel or a $10 reel, doesn't matter. You need to make sure that the work that you do sets it up for the coming season, and that usually involves doing a good cleaning of the reel, checking to make sure that there's no damage to the pieces or parts, and then relubrication. So it's kind of what we're about here. We've put new grease onto the spinning gear, put a little bit on the shaft where it's going to be spinning internally, oiled up the trip lever for the bail, and then I'm going to just put a cleaner as a WD-40 to that one side. This side doesn't have anything going on from the bail. It's a dead end, so you don't need to worry about any of the mechanics there. And then I just want to clean the rest of this up. And then cleaning it up, we can see you got some good transparency here. And interestingly enough, even inside here, it shows you how that bail spring works. So pretty cool. It's got the coil spring that rides and pushes an arm on that. Okay, we're just going to set this aside for a moment because we want to take the main gear out. We've removed the handle. You can now push it through or pull it through. Just grab the stud there to do that. There are no bushings or bearings in this reel, and kind of interested to see. Not seeing any spring on this dog, but it would make sense that there has to be a spring there somewhere to keep that engaged. All right, the back is pure clean, which is probably why this is not operating that smoothly. There's a little bit of dried grease in the cavity here where that crosswind block rides, so let's get that out of the way. Fresh grease on the teeth. You want to check the teeth, make sure they're not chipped or broken. Get the grease on there. And you want to get the grease on the face too, where that crosswind block is riding, so that it can work smoothly rather than grinding. Take that, put that right back into the case so you don't lose it after you greased it up. I'm going to go put the handle on too, because that handle is going to hold that main gear in place so that we don't have to worry about it popping out as we go to put the rotor in. So if you like what you're seeing in this kind of thing, whether it's working on a spinning reel or a traditional conventional boat reel or a bait caster or any of those kinds of reels, if you like that kind of thing, then I'm going to ask you to subscribe, because a subscription will help my channel, but it will also help you know when I post new videos. And I do post those frequently. I've been trying to post them on a regular basis, daily actually, in kind of a pattern here that says, you know, if the first responders can be out there day in and day out, then I'd like to try and do that as well. I can tell you it's not easy, and I can certainly tell you that our first responders don't have it easy either. All right, there you go. You can see that anti-reverse working, and you can see how the gears spin. And this one's spinning a lot freer than it was before we started. All right, I'm going to take the crosswind block and just clean that up at the moment. Put a little bit of grease into the slot that is driven from the stud on the main gear. It's a good time to tell you you should take pictures along the way. This one's a little hard to mess up, but I do remember that the pin was on the right hand side. Don't trust your memory on this or any other reel for that matter. If you're uncomfortable or if you don't know the reel, don't be afraid to take pictures. And of course I am taking pictures. I'm taking a video here, but you can take pictures on a cell phone or digital camera or anything for that matter, just to record certain critical points in the assembly so that you don't lose track of them as you go to set that up. I just pushed the pin into the crosswind block. Next step then would be to put the case back on. There's a couple of studs, obviously, something has to hold this other than that one screw. Those are two studs that get seated in the holes in the upper case. That's just kind of what I'm working on at the moment, is to get that in. And then you can get your single screw to go back in here. And this has got a screw that's both a Phillips head and a flat-plated screw. The Phillips head seemed to be a little bit too small to grip properly. So always use a tool that's appropriate for the job, and that way you'll guarantee success without worrying about stripping out the real threads or anything like that. All right, just using a cotton swab to clean that inner piece. On goes our spool. Put that adjuster button on the top. Tighten it down, make sure that the spool holds. It does. Just clean that up a little bit, and let's give it a try. There you go. Nice little reel. Make sure that your bail works. It does. Flips nicely. And that's it. So that's a South Bend Star Strike. It comes as a combination. It's a lower end reel, probably purchased for a child just learning how to start fishing. And you know what? This one's going to do a nice job and will last a long time. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like it. If you want to see more, again, please subscribe. And if you subscribe, please hit the notification button. And finally, if you have any questions about fishing reels in general, or one maybe you're working on and need a little assist along the way, leave that in the comments section, and I'll be happy to try and answer your question for you if I can. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.